Hi, my name's Lisa Rolling and I'm a Support Services Coordinator at the Children's Tumour Foundation. Today I'm joined by Mia Louise Donnell and Associate Professor Tracy Dudding-Byth, who will be discussing the NF1 Cutaneous Neurofibroma Consortium project, what it is, who can take part and how to get involved. Mia Louise is a member of the NF1 community and as part of her university degree, she's completing her internship here at the CTF. Associate Professor Tracy Dudding-Byth is a clinical geneticist and an integral part of the NF1 project team. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. So I just have some questions for Tracy about the NF1 project. So first of all, what is the project?
The project is it's a government-funded project. So we've received funding to undertake a large international population-based project where we're trying to recruit 2,000 adults over the age of 18 who have neurofibromatosis. So as you know, some people with NF1 may develop, say, 100 cutaneous or skin neurofibromas over their lifetime, whereas other people develop thousands. And the type of variant within the NF1 gene doesn't predict the number of skin neurofibromas a person might develop. And we suspect that it's an individual's genetic background which influences the number of skin neurofibromas. So what this project is doing is that we're looking at how other genes or genetic pathways can influence the number of skin neurofibromas. And we're hoping that by doing that, we can treat or find a treatment pathway, possibly repurposing a drug that we already use for another purpose to treat neurofibromas.
Thank you, Tracy. Are there any requirements for this study?
It's open to anyone in the world who has NF1, any adult over the age of 18. So because we're actually comparing the genetic background of individuals who might have a few cutaneous neurofibromas with those who have many cutaneous neurofibromas, any adult over the age of 18, regardless of how many skin neurofibromas, can participate. And we would encourage individuals who have more severe disease, as well as those who have fewer cutaneous neurofibromas, to join the study.
Cool. So what do people need to do for this study?
Well, we've tried to make it easy. We have a website, and that's at NF1project.com. And so if you come onto the website, you can read about the project and you can register online. And once you've registered online, there's an online consent that you can go through. And once you've completed the consent, we ask participants to complete a questionnaire, and all that can take about half an hour. We then ask participants to take some photos just using their smartphone of their arm and their abdomen and their neck. And those photos can just be snaps with the phone and to upload them onto the site. It is optional, the photos, but we would like to have photos if possible, because what we're trying to do is to compare the genetic background of people who are mildly affected to people who are more severely affected. Once we have the questionnaire completed, our project officer, Elizabeth Rowe, will send people a saliva kit in the post with a return envelope, postage paid envelope. And so we ask people to take a saliva sample, and I can go through that if you'd like, and then send it back. And then our lab here will extract the DNA and undertake the study.
How do we do the sample?
Well, we get a saliva kit and it comes in the post. It looks like that. And you open up the saliva kit and it looks like this. And what you do is you have to spit saliva. It's a bit hard because you still got to go and try and find the saliva in your mouth, and you spit until it comes up to the line. It takes quite a long time to get enough saliva to fill this. It can take a few minutes, so you just need to be patient and keep spitting until you come up to the line. It's important not to drink or eat for 30 minutes beforehand, and then this lid gets closed, and when the lid's closed, it releases a preservative. And then once that's been completed, it goes into the envelope that you'll receive to be posted back to the university.
What are some challenges you've been facing with the study?
Oh, there's been a number of challenges. Probably firstly, some people don't feel comfortable uploading photographs, which is understandable. So we do make it now optional. We ask a question for people to indicate how many neurofibromas they have, but we would encourage people to upload photographs if they can. All the photographs, the name is taken off the photograph, and there's an identifier, which is a number, and only I can link up the photographs with the people. So there's no names with the photographs, but I can understand that people might feel unsure about that. I think the other thing that's been a challenge is we've had 1,500 people register, but of those, about 900 have completed through to the questionnaire. And then of those who have received a saliva kit, we have about 600 saliva samples. So not everybody who's registering is completing the questionnaire or returning the saliva sample. And we really need to make this project work around 2,000 saliva samples. So we've got a year left to recruit, and we've only got 600 samples. And the study, we won't have a sufficient numbers or what we call power to look at what we're doing if we don't get enough participants. So our main challenge has been, letting people know about the project and reminding people to complete and to return their saliva kits.
Yeah, so what does this study mean for everyone?
Well, at the moment, cutaneous neurofibromas can cause distress for individuals with NF1. 99% of people with NF1 will develop some neurofibromas over their lifetime, and most people by the age of 40 will have some. The thing is that we're unable to predict who will have few and who will have many. And so people worry about this during their life. And then if they do start to develop them, it's really difficult for people because there's no medical treatment. So, what this project aims to do is that by looking at the genetic background and trying to identify genes or pathways that influence how severe the number might be, we're hoping to develop a treatment that will either treat the neurofibromas or prevent them from occurring. So, it's a really important project, and it will be a shame if we don't unable to finish the project due to insufficient numbers of participants.
As someone with very few cutaneous or neurofibroma tumors, I do often wonder when I am going to get a lot more, because I do know my grandfather, who had NF, had quite a few when he was a lot older.
Yep. Yeah. So
Mm.
often, yeah, not everybody will develop many, but they tend to increase with age. And most people by the time they're 40 will have some. But if the people who've got quite severe cutaneous neurofibromas have often developed them sort of in their teenage years. So if you're mildly affected now, there's a good chance that you will stay in the mildly affected range. But it's really important that we have people who are mildly affected, because comparing their genetic background to other people who are more severely affected, even within the same family, can provide a lot of information for us.
And when do the samples need to be in by?
Well, the government's given us a year extension because we haven't been able to reach our goal of 2,000. So we have another 12 months to reach our goal of 2,000 samples, which will be difficult considering we only have 600 at the moment. We would like to have our saliva kits back by the end of the year.
So what will you do with the saliva kit samples?
So once we get the saliva kit, we extract the DNA, and we do something called a GWAS study, or a genome-wide association study. And that allows us to look at the genes and genetic pathways that might influence the number of neurofibromas a person gets. So we'll be comparing the genetic background of someone who's mildly affected to someone who's more severely affected. And that's why we need the numbers, because you need a lot of numbers to be able to do this type of genetic study.
So what do you hope to get out of this study?
Oh, I hope to have a better understanding of why some people have got few and some people have got many neurofibromas. So people with the same, it's not the change in the gene that influences the number of neurofibromas someone gets, it's their background genetic information. And so to help us understand this, the first step to developing a treatment is to understand the genetic basis of these skin neurofibromas and why people with the same change in the NF1 gene can develop so different severity of the condition.
Okay, so in relation to the photographs, what will you do with the photographs?
The photographs are all stored securely. And like I said, they're not labeled with the patient's name, just a number. And we'll be developing an artificial intelligence system to be able to look at the photographs and quantify the number of skin neurofibromas. And how that works is we'll be comparing the amount of normal skin to the skin that has the neurofibromas and coming up with a ratio. And then with the photographs, we'll be comparing the DNA, and the photographs will get classified into people who are severely affected and people who are mildly affected. And then we'll be looking at the DNA of those individuals. So we need the photographs to know how to study the DNA.
So are there any tips to help prepare for us to do the photographs?
I think the photographs are fairly straightforward because we're asking for photographs of the arm and the abdomen and the neck. So there's somewhere that somebody can easily take some photographs. And people who have severe or a large number of cutaneous neurofibromas will usually have some in some of those areas. We also ask for a photo of the face, chest, or back, but that's optional. The back, if you live on your own, it's pretty hard to get a photograph of your back. Some people may feel uncomfortable taking a photo of their face or their chest, but certainly we've had a number of people who have been happy to upload those photos. So you can just use the photos with your smart camera, and it doesn't need to be a certain size because our artificial intelligence system is really comparing unaffected to affected skin and coming up with a level, I suppose, of severity score.
So what would be done to keep our information safe and confidential?
A project like this, which is funded by the government, needs to go through what we call our ethics approval process. So we have a strict data management protocol where we have to keep all of the information securely stored. And as I said, we actually store all your information separate to the name, and so only I can connect up the name with the code with how it's stored.
So what happens if I don't complete the whole thing, if I don't finish like the questionnaire or I don't complete the saliva kit?
If you don't complete the questionnaire, then we won't be sending a saliva kit out. But if it's really important, if you do get the saliva kit, that you return it, because if we don't have the saliva kit, that's the most important part of the project, because that's what we're looking at is the DNA. So if you've got a saliva kit and it's sitting there in your office or your bedroom and you haven't got round to doing it, I really urge you to complete that process and get it back to us, because that's what we really need.
If you have a saliva kit in your house or if you've misplaced it, just have a look.
And that's the other thing. If you've lost it, just contact Elizabeth Rowe, and we'll send you another one. So that's not a problem at all. But please send them back. That's really important. And I am excited because really NF1 research doesn't get funded very often. And so we were very lucky to get this research opportunity. So we really don't want it to go to waste.
So who do you contact for assistance with the photographs, or even if you're struggling with the questionnaire?
Okay, well, that's a good question. If you go to the website, right up the top, there's a tab that says Contact Us. And if you click on that tab, it gives you an email address, which is info at the NF1project.com. And so you can use that email address, and we will help you with any questions that you might have about the project.
Anything else you would like to add at all?
I'll just say that, I feel very privileged. I have a daughter with NF1, and I feel very privileged to have the opportunity as a researcher to do this project. But unless we get people out there who will take the time to do it, we won't be able to get the results that we need. So we've been given by the government $1.7 million to do this project, but that money won't be useful unless we get enough participants. So I really encourage anyone who's thought about it but hasn't done it, I encourage you to go and register, complete all the steps. And I encourage people who have received their saliva kit to please return it, because we really would want to make a difference in the lives of people with NF1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, Mia. It's such an important piece of research. So I hope this helps people to understand a bit more what it's all about and how it can help them. And yeah, hopefully we can get to that magic number of 2,000.
I hope so.
Yeah,
It's been a challenge, but I feel optimistic, and so I appreciate your support in helping get the message out there today.